Why does particularly the culture today so terrified of free speech? Well, it's part of they put a lot of value on the punch factor of memes and sound bites, short snippets. So, in a free speech culture, in a not a free speech, so in a meme-driven culture today, um, it's thought that if you say something hurtful, you got to come back with something that's maybe annuls that, but a lot of times you can't. Rather, in a culture that practices rational conversation, rational thought, somebody says something that you disagree with, the response is maybe, "Why do you say that?" And then they have to give some reasons behind why they say that. And as soon as you talk about reasons, now you're starting to engage in a rational discussion. And you might analyze some of those reasons. You find, well, maybe this is not true, this premise that they have. There's a misconception here. And so that actually, that kind of conversation, but and people today in our culture today don't even know how to have these kind of conversations. They're afraid to even ask, why did you say that? They're afraid to even ask that unless they're in a position of power. And so wokeism has taken over the academic world today. So a number of surveys have showed that students are actually afraid to even ask a question in class or say something in class for fear somehow they get reprimanded or there's a reproof done or they get suspended or whatever. There's a culture of fear in the academic world today, not so much amongst those people in a position of power. And I happen to know of certain specific departments that I have personal knowledge of where the woke people, for example, can say the most harshest, devastating things against people they disagree with, but the people they disagree with cannot say a thing back. They're totally muzzled, censored, and if they do say something back, there are going to be repercussions. It's almost like a fascist, totalitarian society that's emerging. And I suspect this is one of the things that Elon Musk is afraid of, is that, no, we don't want a totalitarian society where everybody holds the cards. Now, I realize the left is saying, well, maybe the right's going to hold all the cards. We'll see. I hope that's not the case.
It's interesting because Elon Musk is not on the right at all. He's Andrew Yang supporter. He's left, but he's not woke. And I think that is where I've been really watching a lot of what's been going on. And I think it comes down to power. Free speech means you don't have the power to control what is talked about in public.
That's right.
And
you're going to have to defend your position of power, and they don't want to defend it. You're going to have to come up with some rational justification for what you say and do, and they don't want that. It's very much basically as a society moves away from God and moves to the secular position, it increasingly puts their faith, instead of putting it in God, puts it in governance. And this governance, the increased faith in governments requires that government has increased power to enforce that position that they want. And you don't want threats to that, where free speech is a threat.